Superman is made by Canadian cartoonist Joe Shuster, born 10 July 1914 in Toronto, Canada, created Superman while working for DC Comics. In the original version, Superman's mild-mannered alter ego, Clark Kent, worked for the Daily Star, which was patterned after the Toronto Star. Even though Joe created Superman, his financial story is worth knowing. Joe Shuster was a comic book artist and co-creator of one of the most iconic superheroes of all time, Superman. Shuster showed an early interest in art and storytelling. He started drawing at a young age and became fascinated with comic strips and pulp magazines. Young Shuster worked as a newspaper boy for the Toronto Daily Star. The family barely made ends meet, and the budding young artist would scrounge for paper, which the family could not afford. Sometime in 1924, when Shuster was 9, family moved to Cleveland, Ohio. In the early 1930s, while attending high school in Cleveland, Ohio, Shuster met Jerry Siegel, a fellow student with a passion for writing and superheroes. The two quickly bonded over their shared interests and began collaborating on various comic book ideas. The duo began publishing science fiction magazines and in 1936 broke into the comic book business by drawing lackluster adventure tales. Shuster's illustrations were rudimentary but well-conceived. Joe Shuster's distinctive art style, characterized by clean lines and dynamic poses, helped define his work. Joe and Jerry first used the Superman character in 1933 comic called The Reign of the Superman, but the story was not successful. Eventually, the duo reused the name The Superman for a new story. Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel's most significant creation came to life in 1938 when they introduced Superman in Action Comics #1, published by DC Comics. At first, DC Comics wasn't willing to publish their story, but published it anyway, and Superman led to a groundbreaking moment in the comic book industry. However, despite the immense success of Superman, Shuster and Siegel struggled with financial compensation and creative control. They sold the rights to the character to DC Comics for a modest sum of only $130. Unaware of the massive potential their creation would have in the years to come. They were paid to draw the series as staffers until 1947, when the Man of Steel became the most famous hero in comic book history. When they sued for a more equitable percentage of royalties, they were fired, and Shuster stopped drawing completely for DC Comics. By the mid-1970s, he was blind and living in an apartment in Queens, New York. As Superman's popularity surged, Shuster and Siegel realized the monumental mistake they had made in relinquishing their rights. The Man of Steel soared to cultural stardom, captivating audiences worldwide and becoming the quintessential embodiment of the superhero archetype. This immense success amplified their regrets as they watched their creation become a globally recognized symbol of heroism, justice, and resilience. Their attempts to regain control over their creation and secure equitable compensation turned into protracted legal battles. Fueled by the realization that their brainchild had transformed into an unparalleled cultural phenomenon, Shuster and Siegel embarked on a relentless quest for justice. They sought to reclaim their intellectual property rights and receive the rightful financial acknowledgement they deserved for conceiving and birthing the superhero that had reshaped popular culture. When the Superman movie, starring Christopher Reeve, made $82.5 million, Siegel sued DC Comics. Due to a great deal of negative publicity, DC reinstated their rights and granted the pair a lifetime pension of $20,000 a year with health benefits.
Hooray!
Through courtrooms and legal negotiations, Shuster and Siegel fought to regain ownership of Superman, a character that had been not just a creative venture but also an integral part of their identities. The legal struggles they faced underscored the broader challenges that creators in the comic book industry often encountered in an era where intellectual property rights were less defined and protected than they are today. The story of Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities surrounding creative ownership and compensation in the world of comics. Their journey from selling the rights to Superman for a modest sum to fighting legal battles to reclaim their creation's legacy stands as a cautionary tale and a catalyst for the eventual changes in the treatment of comic book creators' rights.